go for some VLOOKUP connect at the end. I've shifted the topic to the end over here because it requires more time. So after the break, we'll start with this topic there so that you can spend enough time on this and have more queries settled in this particular topic. It's a very popular topic in the industry, and a lot of people across the industry use these topics regularly, for example. So we'll see this topic towards the end. So we'll see the topic of VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP combined together towards the end. And then towards the extreme end, we'll see something on analysis toolback solver and something on histogram in the solver, for example, in the toolback, for example. So let's go. Our pass is about charts and pivots, something on filter, VLOOKUP, and something on analysis toolback. Find one connection that was there, one input that was there. For example, I guess that was asking regarding the names available here and names available there. For example, when we're covering up this part over here, maybe this part over here, this list minus that list, can I have the names available? So I have the formula available for that. But as far as the link here is concerned, multi-link in the same cell, that I could not get hold of. I'm still working on that with the community that I work with. They have given some idea about this, but that doesn't work correctly. So I have to still go into that and see myself how can I find out the option available there. In Word, in a same sentence, I can have two links available. In PowerPoint also, we can have it like that. But somewhere in Excel, we are facing a difficulty that we are not able to have a different link for two words available here. So I'll try that later and then get back to you shortly, because all the questions are normally answered. And if there's a doubt somewhere, we can inform that, okay, this is not coming up so far. But as far as the list is concerned, for example, regarding what we had, which somebody asked, so let me verify that to you. If I've got a list available here, I'll rename that also over here so that it is easy to understand. It's filter and big list minus short list. Let's keep it like that. It doesn't take full name. The number of characters over here are 31 that we can take max for that matter. Let me show that answer over here. If I've got this list over here, let me copy that down. And the names are different. Yes, the names are different over here. Let's pick up these names and pick up some names over here. And paste here. When I copy paste the random data here, what happens is it gets combined data pasted. So often we try to copy paste some columns, for example, over there. I've got two options available here. I'm coming back to this very shortly, but because there's a connection over here, so I'm getting to that option also subsequently. If I want to copy the data here, copy and paste on this location. Suppose that's another file, for example. This one is another file, for example. So I paste here and then come back and then pick up this and then copy that and then paste here, for example. Adjacent to that, I want it that way. So I don't have to do all this effort. I can do one thing. I can do a selection like this, for example. Hold the control key, pick up this selection. Hold the control key, pick up this selection. Copy. Go to the destination. That can be a new file or the new sheet also for that matter. Go click over there and press enter. Only once. Press enter and the job is done. Likewise, when I try to attempt the data here, I could get the data from here, 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 here. Copy and paste it together. But in Excel, we've got a new feature or new function available that is beyond this also. In case you have to depend on a function on a regular basis, for example, you want to pick up some column, for example, you can try something like this. So I'll give you the example right away. Copy, paste here. Suppose I want the data from here to be appearing somewhere else in the other sheet, for example. And on the regular basis, I want some columns only. So I can apply, for example, the function called choose columns. Pick up the entire array, for example, like that. This is like 1, 2, 4, 6. So I can say comma 1, comma 2, comma 4, comma 6, close the bracket. In one shot, I get my answer available there. In one shot, I get my answer available there. So that's what I can get in this case. This gives me a very good answer available. See, the situation might not be available at present. It might not be really demanding at present. It is not a demanding situation right now, but it can come up sometimes. So when I see choose rows, for example, I can pick up choose columns. I can pick up any columns randomly in that case. I have to specify my columns in that case. Let me tell you one more thing over here. If I talk about the data table, for example, so let's cancel this right now. Because if I go with this and I add some data here, for example, say, for example, I pick up some data here and add it at the bottom over here, nothing gets added over here. Control Z. But if I delete that here, for example, define this as my data table, which is here, format as table, home tab, format as table. It's a very good option. It's got 4 great features available. If time is there, I'll discuss that also. But this is a great feature. Must try to explore that sometime or the other. Let's see one feature. If I pick up the data and apply that as a format as table, for example, Control T is a shortcut for that. Okay, in that case, I can see a small tag over here, small sign over here, indicating it's an extension of the table. I can apply like this or like this. Okay, so that is the way it can really expand. I can press Control Shift L to hide my filters. And I can define the table name over here, which actually is shown in this case, Formulas tab, Name Manager. It's so many tables over here. But my table is called Table 2. So if I go to Formulas tab, Name Manager, and suppose I don't need all these over here. I can see Table 1, Table 2. Table 1 I've defined somewhere else. This is Table 2, my current reference. This is my current reference. So if I go back here, for example, define that as my sales 22, 23, for example, press enter. That's what I want. After enter, the cursor will not go away, but that has been defined as a table name over here. I can verify by going to the name manager again and seeing that it is 21, 22, sorry, 22, 23 over there. Now, when I work over here, for example, I can pick up the function here again. Okay, that was not carrying that function. So I'll apply the choose columns, pick up my entire data, see what happens. It's taken my complete table name with all records and columns over there. Then I say comma, pick up column number 1, 2, 4, and 6, apply that over here, enter. And suppose I add the data below this. Suppose I have this data below this over here. Copy, and then paste over here. The update goes here automatically. With the data table, you can now always pick up the pivot table also. So if I make a pivot table from the given data, for example, because my pivot table will contain some 5,000 rows, these are 5,000 rows, for example, but I add 1,000 rows more afterwards, for example, or 500 rows again, for example, I can simply go to my pivot table and refresh that over here. It will update automatically. I don't have to go to the source of the pivot table to increase my data again because I've added the data here. So in case I have a data table selected over here as formatted table from here, or formatted table from here, this one, because it is formatted, it's not showing that over here. It's here also, this one. Okay. So the same option is there. If I format the data as a table and make a pivot table out of this, for example, then whatever pivot table I make after a week, if I come back, add some more records over here, I can go back to my report in the pivot table, simply press Alt F5 to refresh, and my pivot table will include the added data also. So data table is a very strong answer to that. Suppose I'm pressing Control Z now, again Control Z. Suppose I have a sum here, for example, and that shows my 1154000 as the answer. But later, if I add some data here, for example, copy and paste here, this update appears automatically. So on the data table connection, whatever formulas I create, whatever pivots I create, they're updated automatically the moment I add the data below and even the column after that. And pivots have the problem than columns, right? But in this case, it will not have the problem. Okay, so that's about data connections. That's about data, I would say, collection also, how to collect the data like that. For example, coming back to our requirement here, we want to see, for example, what are the names not appearing here because the list is small over here. The very best formula in that case is we got many other formulas available like VLOOKUP and count and match and all that. But count is the best answer. Count is the best answer. When we go for extensive training, for example, we compare all the formulas that can give you the guidance on this, for example. Ultimately, with all the parameters available there, with all the combinations available there, we find that count is the best answer to get the answer available there. Let me show you how. If I create count, how does counters work, by the way? It works like this. Counters works like this. It has a range available. On that, it has the value. Objective is to find out how many times this value appears in this range. That is the objective. So if I try to say, for example, let's have a copy here. Let's have a copy here like that. So if I have a name here, for example, and say count is, for example, pick up the range, comma, compare that to the name. I can see there are 3 copies in this case. There are 3 such names repeating over here. That's what I can see. So counters tells me number of entries in the range. Counters tells me number of value in the range. I can take help of this over here and say, for example, equal to counters.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features: bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
Let me recall something for you. When I discussed about the range available, which I'm copying, for example, over here, this one, I said the range should be both logs when I'm copying the function somewhere, only while copying. If I'm keeping my function here and not copying the function anywhere, I don't have to apply any log, any $sign. Any function that I'm not copying, any function that I'm keeping still in my one cell, for example, I never have to worry about any of the $signs over there. Absolutely not. But in case I'm copying a function that contains a range, copy here, copy across, copy together, down and right. If it contains a range, I have to apply both logs in that case. That's a must. And I have to get back to my data here. Where am I? Yeah, this one. So if I try this here, for example, that is why when I tried this context over here, I did not lock the range because I'm keeping it still in one cell only in that case. Therefore, if I go here, for example, I can try like this, equal to counters. So counters and the range over here. No, this is the range over here. Correct. This is the range. I'll put a lock in this case, function key F4 over here. Then a comma here. Then a cell here. Objective is find this data into this range. Find this data into this range. Close bracket, enter. It says 1. I don't have to extend it right away. But if I do that, for example, I can see that I can find 1s and 0s over here, right? So I just now pressed, if you recall, I've just now pressed Alt 8 to apply borders. Alt and 8, this is 8 for borders. I'm pressing Alt, then pressing number 8 to apply borders. That's it. So here I can try one more function available. Here I can try, for example, if statement. If, for example, my count is equal to 0, my count is equal to 0, then give me this cell, else give me nothing. I get these data extra, for example. These are not available there, just match. Anaida Vishaka is not there. Anaida is not there, Vishaka is not there. Kamal Kavita is not there. These are not there over there. These are the missing names. I have to scan the entire list, after which I can get the data available there. So the option in this case is this one. We were talking about this. So this can be the answer available. We can try through VLOOKUP also, we can try to match also, but count is the best answer. All the three functions can work the same way, but the combination of the function have to try with VLOOKUP and match can be higher, whereas with counters it is not so high. I talk about economics of the data always. So when I talk about the economics of the data, I say that my data should be always lean, for example, very, very lean data. So I can carry my data over the email very easily, open the file easily, and close the file easily. Work on the network also very comfortably. So we talk about the economies of the data so that the data is not carrying more length in this case. In the big data, you will realize that VLOOKUP will require to work on entire data sometimes, which I want to avoid in this case so that I can get my proper data available over here. In this case, I have to deliberately go into one column only because counters requires only one column. But then VLOOKUP and match will require some more extra functions available there, which I don't need to apply in this case. Only one is extra in this case. So this gives me the support of the other list available. How does it really work? A quick shot once again. If I say, for example, COUNTIFs over here, pick up the data, which is my searchable data. I have to search in this range, for example, function key F4 to log that. Go back to the data I want to search. That should give me the count available there. That's the length of the data I've got. Every single data is available once only over here. This is here multiple times, but not here. It's only once over here. I can then circumvent the data, apply that with the if statement like that, and say that in case that is a zero, the count is a zero, comma, that means that is not available there. I can then pick up that cell over here, comma, otherwise give me a blank, double quotes twice, close the bracket, control enter because I've made the selection in advance. Control enter will update my entire column. Control enter now, and that's what updates. That gives me a good answer available to get my not found data across this. This can be sheet 1, sheet 2, file 1, file 2, and so on. That's how we can compare the list available here. So that's a quick shot available on the data set available there, and that should be quite okay, I guess. Any doubt, anyone, we can talk about that.
You said control enter will get that formula to all the rows below. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
In case you have done a selection first, and then I try to modify this, then I can press control enter to settle that with the entire data.
Great. So I don't need to drag the formula down. I don't need to do that anymore. Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah, but okay, let's go. Now, when I go to Copilot, for example, there's a big thing Copilot available there. If I talk about email, if I talk about Teams, if I talk about calendar. So if I go to calendar, for example, Copilot can summarize the data which I've sent to the HR of PwC, for example. Suppose I've sent several mails to HR of PwC requesting some trainings, for example. So last 3 months, I'm following those people. For example, I've sent about 6 to 7 mails. I want to find out PwC only. I can ask Copilot to give me the list of mails sent to PwC. I can ask Copilot to give me the replies I've got from PwC. They say that, okay, we'll certainly start from next month, for example. So I can get those answers. So Copilot as such is a very big tool available there, but we are seeing it with Excel only. Our preview is right now Excel only. That's why we are seeing that in short. If I go to Word, I can get the complete summary of my data available. Again, if I go to, I'm quite close into the HR workings also. So if I just try to pick up some data here, it can give me a summary of the data available there and it will work very fast. Objective is that we're just trying to work on Excel part so far. That's why it's kind of a little lesser because functions are supposed to be, I would say that quite complex. That's why it takes time to apply that over here and gives me a little bit of time to apply that in this case and get the data set available thereafter. If I try to find the data here, give me a moment. got some data here. That's a word data that is available there, consisting of some images. Oh, that will not work. Fine. I'll pick up some other data. Yeah, so this is a Copilot summary. That was picture data. That's why it could not see that. It's a kind of a summary that we have got over here, for example, that you can create, for example. So I can say, give me a summary for the given data. Yes. It'll create a summary of the given data and show the pointers available. So Copilot as a scope has got a lot of things available. The only point is that I have to go to various applications. So it talks about these available. And then I can comment if it is good or not. I've got a complete agreement available. I can give a synopsis of agreement in Word, for example, and so on and so forth. That's what we can see around. But Excel has got some, I would not say limitations. The bigger part in Excel comes in the macros. We'll see that VBA part, Visual Basic for Applications being Excel. That's a huge part available. So if you talk to me on a real level, personal level, I would say that Copilot was essentially designed for the higher people, for example, middle management to top management, because they would not know the technology so far. And technology is for everybody. And technology is supporting a lot of us in that case and impacting our lives very, very dynamically in that case. So everybody should get the automation support available. So primarily it was developed for senior people. Secondly, it was developed for the coders. If you ask these people who actually are into Copilot, senior people, the summary of the Word file, the preparation of the PowerPoint file, I've shown the Word example. If I quickly see the PowerPoint example, we'll not spend time on that. Blank presentation, for example, so I can say, create a presentation about, for example. I'm simply writing that over here, that's it. So when they show the ads over there saying, okay, let's generate slides. Those ads over there, they're indicating those over there. For example, they're actually saying the truth over there, but the point is I have to correct my data in this case. I have to correct my language. I have to change the pictures that might be there, for example. So we have a lot of things to cover up over here. We've got so many pictures over here. It will say, you want to add this or not? And there are so many notes available there. It's coming up with that shortly. So it's basically not even a minute. I've gone through this and giving the quick work on this, putting that over here. Double click and getting this over here. I guess I get a good picture. Nice. The notes also available at the bottom of here. Yep. So if you don't want to find out what Google can guide you on the benefits of morning walk, you can really go to Copilot and work that out in PowerPoint with the inspiring pictures that you might have and good idea about, okay, why it is so essential, why it is so important. And how many are these? These are 19 slides available there. You can further try to summarize these also, summarize the presentation over here, and so on and so forth. If I go more, it will be much time in this case. So PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, calendar. I told you the meetings. I can say okay, all meetings with Samsung. Tell me the all meetings with Samsung in the coming month, for example. All trainings with the ZaranTech for coming month, for example. I can push that and get my answers for that in Copilot in the Outlook, in calendar. So there can be so many areas of exploration over there. But back to our work, for example, if we come back to, we can see that this gives us a fairly good idea about functions that we apply over here. So that's about big list minus short list. I'll just label that here.
I had a question about the COUNTIF
Yes, please.
formula. Yeah. This might be a dumb question, so I'm just giving you the heads up. I was testing this formula, right? So what is the difference if you put equal to 0 or if you don't put an equal to 0? When I was I removed the equal to 0, then I could get the value from that column, right? So why are we, yeah. So why are you putting equal to 0? Because we don't want that value to populate in that column?
Yeah, the reverse comes in,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the equal to 0 tells me about, okay, fine, in case my count is not matching, that gives me equals to 0 over here.
Mhm.
If my count is not matching, it becomes a 0. And when it is a 0, that means my data here is not matching here. And that is the data I want to display. That's my objective.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
But it didn't show 0, right? In the column, it's still blank.
Because I've commissioned that like that. If you see this over here, in our previous example, we saw that I actually made it to apply with the 0 in that case. If I apply this here, you can notice it was a 0 earlier. In this case, we had a 0 here. Over that, we have cleared this, applied this function over here. So it was like this, for example. It was like this, for example. Over that, we have applied the if function. So in case this answers me a 0, in case this function answers me a 0, then give me a cell from here, because 0 means it is not able to find that cell over here. So give me a cell from here. Otherwise, if it doesn't answer a 0, that means a match is found. In case the match is found, then give me a blank here, because I want to list out the list, which gives me the answers of the data not available here. I want to pick out the list in this case. So this list minus this list, I want the answer over here. That's my objective.
Okay.
Okay, that was it. If I go here, for example, and go to my Copilot again, and try to apply the filter to Eastern area column, so I can try to pick Mike also here. Apply filter to Eastern area column. So here is there, deeper to that area. Okay. Said everything I mentioned. I murmured also, and it picked up that as well. Apply filter to East in area column. So I press enter after that. It's working on the given data. Apply filter over here. Fancy's apply, fancy yes apply. There we are. I can then go here and run the mic, for example. Clear filters, please. The only thing is it says apply. Okay, so we can't really ask it to apply straight on. There are some ways we can apply also thereafter, and that's how it really works. Besides that, I have to give some input on filters also. If you recall, I've discussed about filter, and many functions are array functions. If I go back to the list over here, this talks about some functions. Filter is one more function that is an array function. So array function examples are many. In fact, I've given some only in this case. I go back to that list over here, and I'll pick up some rows over here. Insert row, for example, like that. So I just now pressed what? I press Alt I, then R. So insert row IR, insert column IC, insert worksheet IW. Look at this. Alt I, you can see Alt I here. R, that's insert row. I want random rows or specific rows. For example, I want one here, I want one here, and I want one here. Before these names, I want the rows to be added. Alt I, then R. Correct? Then a column here. Alt I, and then C. Control Z. Then a worksheet there. Alt I and the W. That's a worksheet there. Erase local worksheet. So Alt EL is sufficient. Worksheet is not required. Alt EL. Why is it not required? I don't know really. Some shortcuts are too big, some are small. but then erase local is basically erase local. So Alt A and then N, that is gone. This is gone. Okay, that's what we see. Now I'm coming back to this place over here. I'll pick up this headers over here, apply this in this case, and say I pick up West, for example, apply that over here. The function filter I mentioned earlier also, we can always see what are my parameter requirements. For example, these are this filter. I need to apply the output range, then the input range, and then the value over here. It's copied the data from above, inserted the row back. So it is trying to show me the center data in this case. Understood? That's why it showed me center data over there. I inserted the row here, copied the format from above. So when I just inserted the column, what happens if I insert a column? It copies a format from the previous column. Same for the row also. So let's apply this equal to filter. Pick up the entire data like that. That's my output, comma. What's my input? I've got to compare the names over here. Sorry, the region over here, the area over here, equal to West. Close the bracket, enter. So I can see the data here. In case I'm having some data here, which is new data here, I copy and paste it over here. What do you get? You get spill error. Because it says that you've got something else in my space. You got something else in my space. I can't spill my data there. You got something extra in my space. If I delete that, I get to clear that. So spill is a new error in Excel. Not now, it's since 2019. So if I delete that, I can see that over here. So that's how I can get my filter function available. And you can notice that the output in this case showed me a number of the date available there. I can pretty well select my data up to here. For example, go to the home tab, apply this short date, or press Ctrl+1 here, open the date, apply the first date. The start date is my system date. I should apply that always. Apply that, and that's okay. Maybe apply center in this case. So that works for data here in this case. Center. Yeah, that's what it goes for. Okay, that's what we see. So if I make a change here, for example, it goes for north data. I can see that over here. If in the north, I want to pick up, for example, the kitty cat over here. So I'll combine that in this case. I'll copy this. I don't have to copy below this only. I can copy it here also. No worries. I can copy it here also. Absolutely no problem. So if I go back here, I've got to combine the two filters in that case. So I will have to apply this as a combination here. Multiply by a combination here, for example, that is this, for example, equal to this, for example, close the bracket and close the bracket. What does it work with? Let me see the answer first. So I've got some answer here, isn't it? But the point is, how does it work? If you recall the way we used to work earlier in Excel, we used to have something called F9. If some people know that, it's fine. If do not know that, let me tell you, by selecting the data here, I can press function key F9 and see what is the data behind. Presently, I can see the preview here also. This was not available earlier. For the last 6 months, it is there. Else, I can press function key F9 to see my preview in this case like that. And that shows me that the match in this case is found or not. Wherever the match is found, it's a true. Where it is not found, it's a false. Likewise, a match here is found or not. It's a true and a false over here also. Okay, I've got to select complete to make a preview happen over here. So if you notice in this case, there are some true and false available here, wherever the match is found. So true here and true here is basically a 1. False and false is a 0. So wherever in front of north, I've got bit white, for example, it will result into this as a true for this as a false for this. So 1 multiplied by 0 will become a 0. It will not show the answer. But wherever I find, for example, north compared to kitty cat over here, this is a 1, this is a 1, multiply the 2, the answer is 1. Therefore, the answer is shown over here. So it has to go for the true and the false values as a result of this complete answer. And these are these answers. Second record, and I can't count that. Some 10th record, some 20th record in that case. That's what we see, 3 records. You can see 3 true values, 3 answers. Second record is a match over here. Some nth record is a match over here. And one more record is a match over here, which is why it shows me like that. In case I make a spelling mistake here, for example, it won't show me something. I can then apply the formula with the not found situation here. So I can say double quotes, not found. So I can look at the problem, what is the problem, and try to make the correction over here. That can be the fault. I can modify that and see. Possibly the result is not available. It might show me like that. That's how it can work. So filter is a function applied with Excel, with a new feature of Excel that can be used as an output available right over here, like this. And let me recall for you. Connection is to be made like that. Because we're learning new things, we might not be able to make the connections now. But if I recall that for you, it will be easier. Connection is this, that if I format this table as a data table, then tomorrow if I add more data over here, filter will automatically pick up the extended data also. If I add the data here, filter will not pick up the data here, because in the case of filter, the input I've taken is this much only. That is what I've taken as my input. But in case I had formatted this as a table earlier, and then added more records below this later, then my filter would have automatically updated for extended additions. So data table can work fairly fine. Over time, when we saw, it is there since 2003. This list option is there since 2003, but not was explored so much. So they brought that right in front of us using the Home tab and showed that right over here. It was there since 2003. Okay.